gente? You guys already know this. Your boy D once again. Come on here, kicking with the homie EBK.
Ya
You
saben.
guys already know him. This is gonna be a different interview. This is not gonna be a question asked, answer asked. So we're gonna have a different dialogue to compare notes, or basically compare similar situations or different outcomes to different groups regarding my side of our knowledge of town from my old gang and what he knows about it and how they program over there with his area and how we used to program over here up in North California. So with that being said, I'm gonna let the homie kick it off with the questions, stuff like that.
Simón, gracias, brother. Thank you for having me, first and foremost. Ya sabes. And I know people are going to be wondering, like, well, what kind of, what's this about, right? Well, of course, bro. I had experience with a couple of homies from your side of the woods, right? From MS, and it's always been a little bit different, right? Because cuando vienen from the ones from down south, and even the ones from El Salvador, and the ones from my area, they're not the same, So I'm hoping on this one that I can get some of my questions answered, and hopefully the people enjoy this video, bro, because I know they get a lot of things twisted when it comes to MS, bro. They get a lot of hate, carnal. They get a lot of hate, and I honestly think I don't know if it was because of the president or because of what people see on the news, but it's not always like that. I know that, but there's a lot of people that got that shit twisted. So the first question que te iba a preguntar, bro, like growing up like in your area, right? What did you kind of seem different compared to like the ones from down south, Because like I said, I would always seek it. It was a whole different ball game when it came to the MS.
It, first of all and foremost, that there's a lot of things. MS is hated due to the image portrayed by the newspaper, the presidents, and other people. They read one article or see one case, and they run with a wild imagination, thinking, "Oh well, if he belonged to that gang, the gang knew what he was doing and didn't do nothing to stop it." That's not the case, and 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 that's something people gotta understand. Whether you a leader of a gang, you can have eyes and control of your every single member 24/7. It's just impossible. It doesn't happen. And whether one individual is out doing his thing, he won't tell you, "Hey, I'm gonna go and go do this and then do this," for different reasons. He's not gonna tell everybody in the hood, "Oh, I'm gonna go do this," because he's afraid he's gonna get tell on when the case comes around or the police start investigating. Second, somebody else might hear what he's about to go do and tell on him while he's in the process of doing it. So 9 out of 10 people doesn't go around telling what they're gonna do. They just go and do what they have to do. But the difference between I want to say us up in Northern California and down south, one big difference is the way we dress. The way we dress was one difference, and the way we conduct ourselves was way different. We didn't have the Nike Dickies banged out, bullheaded out gang, and we didn't really stood out like that. We didn't walk around with machetes, like how people
Uh-huh.
think we walk around with machetes hanging out of our pants and shit like that, or with bald headed tattoos, face tattoos. Nah, it's not like that, man. Northern California MS was a little bit different, was a little bit more hip to the hip hop style, to the urban style, because we a lot of us grew up either in the projects or a lot of girls grew up around different environments. Some
Uh-huh.
of us grew up in a mission where there was a lot of Mexican area, Cuban areas, and we had a different style. But our style was different regarding MS. We didn't never when we used to bang. You never. It was rare that you heard us say MS13. It was rare that you heard us even bang that. All the time, most of the time, when we bang on somebody, it was always Mara Salvatrucha, and then we would say the click.
It's funny you say that. It's actually funny you say that because that's something that I noticed, bro. When it comes to like the ones from LA and stuff like, well, not just LA, just down south. I'll say down south because MS is everywhere.
Yeah.
That's another group that they were able to expand. And honestly, I don't. Well, maybe you can, but I can't. I can't be like, oh, this city has them, this city doesn't, this one does. Like I can't actually say that. I know my area has them, not in Watsonville, but in Santa Cruz. They are right there. But like when it came to like the ones from down south, they always like they would have that blasted, carnal, the 13 on them. They would say MS13, and they would like actually put that out there, you know. Acá arriba, like, well, at least in my area, I'm not like I can't speak for like where you're at, you know. But aquí, I would notice that they would throw just MS. They would just throw MS, and they program a little bit different. But I'll get into that right now, my boy. They just program a little bit different.
It's different, bro. Like I said, and it's a trip you said that because I noticed when we used to go down there to LA to kick it with the homie because we did travel. We did went from Frisco to LA to different parts of LA, different cities, HGB, um, the other areas, downtown LA, Hollywood, all these little areas. I will actually see homeboys with the suit on it as well and the
Yeah.
third team on them and it tripped me out because I would be like, hold on, I know you guys go to prison, but I know what that letter stand for, so you have to go in there and earn it. So I will question sometimes my homeboy like, do you get that just because like you from down south or you get it because you actually earned that when you
Yeah.
went in there? Because for us upstaters, and I used to and I say us upstaters because from up north we can actually get the SUR tattered on us even outside in the streets because we used to beef with norteños. So
Mhm.
our aggression and our animosity and our hate was towards norteños. So the letters what it stand for was actually a fact that we were living on an everyday basis,
Yeah.
beefing with northerners. So we could actually get it. You will see homies get upstate sur or SUR,
Mhm.
but a lot of homeboys from the mess, we decided to stay away, especially first call our clique, we decided to stay away from every single thing that had to do with prison politics and cultura. Anything that had to do with cultura, culture, we decided to step on back and stay away from it for the simple fact that Frisco was a late bloomer on politics, especially for Sureños.
Yeah.
Even 19 streeters and 16 streeters, the homies that were the Southerners, they didn't really have politics like that. We didn't have like people coming and collecting taxes for us, and we didn't really have somebody coming in and having dictated program to us. So we were late bloomers on that situation. So
Yeah.
when we go down south, we actually see homies from MS having MS, and then underneath or in other part of the body having sur. And it was confusing to so a lot of us that were young coming up on the ranks. And
Yeah.
I was curious, so I would always used to ask my homies like, "Why you have that, bro? Like we mareros, homie. We a mess. We mara salvatrucha. Why would you have something that represents another whole category of the system? I
See,
understand in prison, but in the streets,
yeah, no, I get that part. Cause look, cuando like me, like seeing them, right? I'm not gonna lie. As a youngster, cuando estás morro, you don't know, right? You don't know no better. So when you see them, I honestly, cuando estaba morro, I would be like, oh, también es another gang, you know, it's otro
yeah,
group, part of the sureños.
yeah,
But as I got older, you know, once I got older and I started seeing it wasn't like that. There was like, oh, they're their own separate group. I started like catching on a little bit more. Que like, okay, los de Salvatrucha, you know, some different. That's not a sur. It's not the same gang, right? And what I would trip out on, especially up here, the reason why I say that is because being part of that the north or whatever, right? I would have some cool friendships, homie, with some people from MS. And I know some people are gonna be like, "What the? Hold on, what the fuck?" No, I'm serious. It's on a serious note, right? And I don't know if it's like that over there on the tú estás, bro. But like right here in Santa Cruz, like in the Santa Cruz County, there's been dudes from MS that they funk so much con el sur with the South, right? Like they funk so much that they built some relationships, homie. Like they became cool with some Northerners. And I know some people are gonna be blown in the comments, and you're probably gonna have people crazy going on there, right? Like, oh, that's not true. What do you think about that, bro? Did you ever hear that or
you
anything?
know,
Because I
because
seen it, homie. You know, that's why I'm just, you know what I mean?
yeah, you know what? It's a trip because it actually happened also in another area in Madera County, right? We had little Hollywood cliques over there, and that's
Uh-huh.
a clique that got branched off of the Hollywoods in LA. So one of the homeboys came and started making it right there in Ventura County, excuse me.
Uh,
But when the homies start establishing themselves, the homies, the sureños there, the southerners, didn't like the homeboys. You
uh,
see, so they will get into frictions, fights, disagreements to the point where they dislike them. And a lot of the homeboys that I run across from Ventura County when I was in prison used to tell me, like, I got along better with Northerners than I got along with homies. And the
yeah,
animosity stayed there because some of them resented them because when they first started trying to set up the clique, you
yeah,
would have thought that the Southerners would be a little bit more grateful. There's another clique or another barrio coming into town to try and take over another territory so the Northerners don't take over. But I guess they didn't.
yeah.
MS is not liked by a lot of people. That's
Yeah,
a fact. They're
I
hated by a
started,
lot of people.
I started seeing that, carnal. I actually started seeing that. Look, don't get me wrong. There's always been people that they always have some type of thoughts when it came to MS, right? Because what they see in news, you gotta remember, todo lo que ponen in news, and it's mostly gonna be negativity, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do that with any gang, right? But they focus a lot on MS. Honestly, I don't know why, carnal. I don't know why they focus so much because you can find all those loopholes, all those little like manchitas, people, you know what I mean? Because let's be real, man. There's some scumbags in the world. They'll just say like that, right? But you can find them in every single group. But
Yeah.
sometimes just don't put the shine or the spotlight on just certain, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
they ended up focusing a lot. I think the president ended up pushing that fucking agenda. And until this day, I think a lot of people still think like that or are scared, because they don't really know the truth and they just continue to hear the same shit.
And it's
Pero
a trip because it's true, bro. That Spencer, um, the president push a narrative, and people take whatever one person is saying because he's in the high office or he's held in that regard, and they run with it. Then the news come and paint this picture of these individuals, gruesome picture, what they were not. I know personally of a case that happened in Watsonville where homies from Florencia were involved of killing one homie from Portside, Barrio Pobre, and the sodomize they do,
okay,
then
so
they kill him.
I know
So
exactly what case you're talking about. It was there was a homie from LA. It was a homie from down south and some homies from MSL.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that case, and when they got brought up to prison because the homies from Barrio Pobre wanted to down do the homie from Florencia, they wanted to down it. And we were in San Quinn at that time, and then the reason why it was being pushed because San Quinn was like our backyard.
Mm,
And then homies wanted it down, and the mesa didn't approve because it was put in plain words like it was a beef issue, and it was not a female involved, it was just another man.
mm,
And he didn't get that case. His other crime he did, his crime he checked in. But
yeah.
it was known that the dude that walked the line had made a deal with his crime. His crime didn't want to run the program, so he had told him that he was gonna take that charge of sodomizing, go SNY to allow his other crime to walk the line, and he was gonna be well taken care of financially. So that's what was well known because it was talked about, I guess, in the pad, in the tank where they were incarcerated. But it was known that he took part of doing the sodomizing with the two individual, even though it was his enemy. And
Yeah.
Florencia was trying to start up a new barrio there. Why they didn't put the spotlight on him? Why they didn't get hit? I know multiple cases, bro,
Yeah.
of people that are in positions now. They have cases worse than other individuals have had, and they don't get pushed the line like that. But when it comes to a mess, it can be one little mistake, and it's everybody hate him. It's just like in prison. If one MS gang member messed up and got something coming, bro, you have about 50, 70 hands being raised. Like, I do it. But
Yeah.
if it's another homie, it will be hard to find individuals to volunteer to do the pegada.
Yeah.
Unless you owe a favor. But if it instantly tell you, oh, it's a homie from the mess, I gotta go, boy, you will have to near the whole yard lifting their hands to try to remove that individual.
They get a lot of hate, bro. And then they get a lot of hate, and it's a trip, bro. Okay, they receive some hate. Okay, let's be real, right? Let's be real. Si son parte de la ranfla, why can't they get the same fucking carnalismo? Why can't they get the same treatment as any other? You know what I'm saying? And that's what that shit always tripped me out, bro. That shit always tripped me out. And I'm gonna ask you another question. And I don't know, maybe this didn't happen to you, pero como me estás diciendo, I mean, it kind of happens to a lot of the homies from MS because the homie that I used to smoke with, right, and chill. Yes, I used to chill with someone when I was young. We used to smoke from MS, and he used to tell me straight up, bro, how some sureños, I'm not saying all of them do, like the upstaters, que they felt que the norteños would like pick on them, try to oppress them, and que, like just try to do the most, right? Like they'll do the
Yeah.
most. That the MS was feeling that's the same thing, homie, when it came from the south. When they came from the sureños, and the reason why he felt like that, and he probably wasn't getting like let's say que he didn't hate norteños or he wasn't getting oppressed, let's just put it like that, by norteños, is because Santa Cruz is known to be a sureño city. It's a well-known sureño city, so the sureños are the dominant, right? So the norteños are outnumbered, and MS, right, if they happen to be funking with them, that's another group that can kind of like, at least back then, bro, the MS was deep in Santa Cruz. They're not as deep no more. They had a
No,
couple
yeah.
things happen. I'm pretty sure what have gone down, but a couple things happened, so they got thinned out. But they were a group that was considered to be kind of like the norteños, bro, and that's why some like up north told me they were somewhat cool. Yeah, you had times where they were fun. But let's put it like this: if they would see a sureño or a norteño, more than likely they would get off on the sureño because they had prior beef or prior history with them already. Did you ever
And
feel like that?
you know
Like,
what? It's a trip because that situation happened not to me specifically, but it happened to one of my close friends. Uh, um, he started kicking it with the homies from 16 and 19, right? Um, and they had a habit of not speaking Spanish to the homie, even though that he was coming from the motherland and
uh-huh.
his English was limited. They will minimize that fool. They will be like, they will call him paisa. They will be like chunti. They will minimize. And I noticed that they did that to a lot of people that didn't speak English. At least that generation of 16 and 19, I seen that,
Yeah,
and I actually grew a little bit of animosity towards them because I used to tell them, bro, you put your own people that kicking it with you down because they don't speak English. Like you want these folks to be having their pants hanging low and be like, my nigga this, my nigga that. Like that's how they will talk. But once the homie can respond to you or doesn't say proper the word that he's trying to say or he stutter a little bit, you instantly start calling him chunti. You instantly start minimizing, calling him paisa,
yeah.
and
That's
they
no, no.
will feel that way, and then they will come back to us, to the homeboys for the mess, and they will be like, I want to kick it with you fools because you fools at least speak Spanish. Because most of the time,
Yeah,
homeboys always will speak Spanish. We speak English too, but we will speak English amongst people that we know will understand us. But when we
yeah,
was like a bunch of homeboys and we knew that a few of them didn't spoke English, we was talking in Spanish just out of respect and courtesy for the homeboys,
yeah,
and they will feel that minimizing, bro. And I saw that throughout high school, throughout middle school, that a lot of they would do that, and so norteños never used to do that. I
yeah,
noticed that because a lot of norteños, they coming from Mexicans families. They either were born in Mexico or they were either raised by Mexican family, and they got pushed the line. The Spanish was the language that was supposed to be speaking, so a lot of them folks would speak. ¿Qué onda, güey? No mames,
yeah.
dale, loco. So
That's how
they
I
will have the accento, you know.
Simón, ¿qué onda, güey? Yeah,
So
I get
so
it.
a lot of people feel like
Yeah,
I should rather go this way
yeah,
or go this way because this is the where I feel comfortable. I feel like more resemblance to than other people, and that's what people don't understand. Down south, the homies they have the habit of always being pochos, and what I mean by pochos is like they don't speak no Spanish. They even if they should learn it because it's a language that we speak,
yeah,
they tried the hardest not to learn it, bro. This hard. They rather learn Nahual instead of Spanish because Nahual, if they start speaking it now, they feel like they're high powered. They're with the Rocha, they already
they're a
this.
big homie.
Yeah, they already can
Simón.
communicate with the pilis, la la la. But
Yeah,
it is ignorant because when they go and sell up with paisas or sell up with homies,
uh-huh.
they only speak Spanish, down frictions start to arise because you cannot communicate proper with your celly because he only speaks Spanish, you only speak English, and then the homie is always gonna feel inferior. The homie from LA always gonna be like, oh, you a paisa, if we can speak English, we'll get out of my cell. And that's when homie like, you're not kicking me out of the cell. Gee, fuck that. We finna
You got
squabble.
the game fucked up, man.
Yeah,
Straight up.
that's when a lot of fights start
Yeah.
happening because of that. And I saw that down south. I saw that in down south prisons. I saw that in New Falls. So I saw that in Corker. I saw that in the prisons that I was. That a lot of people were getting into fights because of the language barrier. But it goes to the same thing that a lot of Sureños, they're bullies, bro. They feel like they have the power in the mincho and they will try to bully their way into anything if they can.
Yeah. Look, it's always like that, but it's not just también con los sureños. I'm gonna clear that up right now, right? También con los norteños, I noticed, bro. It's just with any group. When
Yeah,
there's too many of them, they start nitpicking and set tripping on each other.
yeah,
If there wasn't that many of them, I guarantee you it would always be all love and peace because they have to stay nice and close, because there's not that many of them. But
yeah.
eso siempre pasa, bro. Especially when they're deep, and you already know when it comes to doing time. I mean, I think the Sureños are always gonna be the deepest, no matter where you go. So they got that advantage, bro. They got that advantage and shit. Otra
I
cosa
think
que
it's a trip because the first time I felt like we were at number was a Corking recently when I was there. The Blacks had us at number at least 4-1.
oh, did they? Shit.
Yeah, they had us at number at least 4-1, and that's when I saw a lot of so-called high power homies actually really break down and trying to always find a way to deal
Like fix the solution. Find the solution.
talkative person to
Yeah.
have conversation instead of going just to say fuck it, let's remove him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
cause
that I saw that happen a lot. Even when the Bulldogs were there, they were not a number. I saw that with the Northerners. See, I like to be in yards where there's Northerners in the yard because I noticed that when there was not a so-called enemy for the homies to focus on, they will politic against each other. They will always friction within each other. They will always finding a way to try to smug each other up. That instead of when there was a so-called enemy in the yard, their focus was on trying to make sure that they conduct themselves proper, so the other car didn't see them as weak or as
uh-huh.
renegades or
Yeah.
as sloppy or stuff like that.
And then pues también so that they don't take over, bro.
Yeah,
See them as a joke. Obviously, like, oh,
yeah.
these fools are, you know what I mean? They're not like that. Boom, boom, man. Yeah, nah, that's a trip. Es que se me está olvidando lo que te iba a preguntar, vato. Oh, I was gonna ask you, bro. Like, because one thing that you had mentioned right earlier, hace ratito, we're saying que like, okay, the sureños or the homies, right? They kind of wanted you guys to like sag and stuff like that. Over here, it's very different, right? Like over here, it's kind of like I mean, I would say like LA, bro, because it's like raza. People pick up their pants. You see me, bro. Siempre me miro bien cholillo. But that's
Yeah.
just the way I dress. That's just how. I mean, that's just me, normal. Um, Pero acá es muy diferente a the Bay Area. I know like some spots in San Jose también son así en Pachuco down, but then they got the Bay Area where it kicks in and it's straight urban. Did you ever like when you go to other towns like when you were network? I don't know cómo te vistes, homie. I'm not gonna say to see if you were sagging or not when you were young, but did they ever trip on you like on in that
Oh
like
yeah.
in that
I
sense?
had, but see, that's the thing, because I had long hair, bro. So
Mm.
I looked like a straight pure norteño. I had long hair.
Yeah.
I sagged a little bit, and I always had it. I'm a Niners fan, so I always you couldn't tell me I couldn't wear none of the Niners gears because it was we
Yeah.
finna get it in, homie. You're not finna tell me how to dress. So, but you see, I was raised a little bit more different than a lot of individuals. So a
Yeah.
lot of my family were all founders of like stoners, like the first generations of MS, and they always told me, whatever, however you are in one place, always be the same in other place. Do not change to become somebody else because you're trying to look up to somebody or you're trying to be
Mm-hmm.
cool or him looking at your image is perfect, because then you're gonna be imposter. You're never gonna have a clear image of who you are yourself. You're gonna be looking confused. Because if you talk like hey ese or Sean Holmes like that all your time, then that's who's gonna be you. That gotta be you at all times.
Uh,
But if you don't talk like that and you try to act like that or talk like that when you get to prison, it's gonna be a whole people gonna call it. They're gonna see it. That's not you. See me, a lot of us homeboys from here, the Bay Area, MS homeboys from 20th Street Click, we a lot of us had long hair. A
Uh,
lot of us used to sag. A lot of us used to wear baggy, saggy clothes. We used to use a lot of the hyphy movement. So we were hip to the urban type of style because simple fact was we grew up in a lot of different. We grew up in a different era, and we
uh,
grew up in a different areas. We grew up. Some of us grew up in projects. Some of us grew up close to the projects. A lot of the people we used to go to high school with were homies that we knew from around the ways. So that was our stilo. Yeah, we used to get called up on it. When I used to go down south to the homies in LA and visit the clique, they will start calling us up on us right away. Hey, fool, you guys full look like M. They will say the M word,
yeah.
referring to Morenos.
Sí, no, Simón, yeah,
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 and then
yeah.
they will go and call us Morenos, and like, you guys are all, you guys got a stilo Morenos. You guys trying to imitate the blacks. You guys are all act like blacks. They were always trying to minimize us until it will be up to you, homie, to put a stop to it and be like, hey, homie, you want to know what I'm about? Like, let's go get it.
Simón.
But
You
a
just,
lot
you
of
just,
homies used to do that because down south, a lot of homies had the Krista 501s with the Cortezes or the Dickies
Bien
with the,
cholitos.
yeah, the Ben Davis,
Sí.
the Cholito style, the
Yeah,
old school Ravens. Like, yeah, I remember those times when my uncles used to dress like that and all of that shit.
yeah,
Toco Pachuco out the game, but that wasn't our era. So why would I funk it? Because that was the era from the 80s, the 90s, early 2000s. You would still see homies dressing with like Cortezes and stuff like that. But 2002 all the way up to the generations that came after us, we didn't
uh,
dress like that, bro. We had Air Forces One with like St. John's pants or stuff like that, you know?
yeah, yeah. It was a different area, homie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a whole different movement. It was a whole different area. So we created our own identity, and it was like that when I went to prison, and that's where I had a lot of trouble because the way I talk was the way I was in prison, and the way I dress in prison was the way I dress out here. So I
Yeah,
always sag a little bit. I always would wear baggy clothes. I always had my stilo. I never changed
yeah.
for nobody.
Yeah, now you're supposed to, bro. You're not supposed to change for anybody. Like como siempre digo, you don't gotta lie to kick it. It's the same thing, homie. Just be yourself. It's always best to go that route. It's always
Yeah,
best because, like you were saying, bro, someone's gonna call you out on your bull. Ya valió madre cuando they call you out on your bull because if it's especially in an environment in there, it's not a place where you kind of want to fake it, homie. Shit. You might be able to pull that shit off on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? The people that want to fake it and make it, dale gas, you can pull it
yeah,
off the thing. But in an environment like that, it's always best, man, just to be yourself. I'm glad, bro, that you actually came on YouTube, carnal, because you see the videos. You see videos of people making about MS. I made a couple, bro, but I always try to make it like as respectful as I can when I make on other groups, right? Because I already know when it comes to certain any group, right? They have a little bit of everything. Everybody has everything, right?
yeah,
But in these last few days, I know, man, that people are interested, like in the whole MS thing, and I'm glad that you're actually on here doing the whole thing, bro. Because a lot of people, they're gonna throw pedrazos, they're gonna fucking talk out of their ass,
yeah.
when they don't really know none of that shit. So I'm glad that you're on here, bro. And I'm glad that you're feeling better, homie, because I know you did go through some things. So I'm glad that you know what I mean, you're coming back, homie, and you're getting the back together, homie. Because on these next few days, just mark my words, carnal, there's gonna be a hell of people making videos on MS and wanting to have answers. And right now, bro, I think you're the only one from actually MS that's on YouTube, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, bro, but you're the only one that I tune
I
in.
think I'm the only one. Yeah.
You know what
And
I'm
like I
saying?
always say, I always open up myself to questions. Like if you have a doubt or question, come and ask it. I'd
Yeah.
rather you to come and ask him. And I said, no, there's no such a thing as stupid question. I'd rather you to have a question, come and ask me, have that doubt, but
Uh-huh.
don't have that image that we this bunch of satanic rapists, crazy dudes that smoke, hit the pipe, and we just go satanic and go hunting for innocent people because that's not what it is, man.
Yeah.
Every country, every faction, every group has his rotten apples and has his good, not good
Perfect.
pieces, but it has his okay pieces, you know. But this is the thing: I noticed that a lot of people always attack them as because we're transnational gang, and people have made it a point to put a picture and paint a picture of diabolic rituals, satanic stuff.
What what's that Sureño's name, bro? The one that's locked up doing live, that psycho killer from Bakersfield. Asuna, Jaime Asuna or something.
Jaime Osuna.
That fool. Okay, hey, he was a Sureño. That fool will be considered something, and people are gonna be like, "Oh, that fool's just crazy in the head, straight killer." But hey, there's
But
something wrong with that fool. That's one example. I can
yeah,
probably pinpoint some norteños, but I'll probably have phone calls being made, you know. But I'm pretty sure you know of a few that are probably
yeah,
still even in good standings, carnal. You know what I'm saying?
man, I know
Hey,
a few of them. I know a few. I mean, Flaco from Commons Perspective, he did a 2 profiles on Topo from the M member from Florencia. He having 80s charges of rape. I'm gonna say 14 years old, and then there was another an effort do the rape his nieces, and they still walking the line. I know a few homies that had got skated through the cracks due to favoritism and money being paid off. They have escaped through the cracks with some funny charges looking. I know a few homies that had done crimes that we know of that were
yeah.
funny, and they still walk the line because they paid the way or whatever, however they do. But once
And
the
this is
MS dude does it, oh, it's just taboo.
yeah. That's all, I was just about to say that, brother. I was just about to say that this is for like the subscribers that are watching this, man. And just picture this: if someone from these other groups, right, like they're still out there, right? But like let's say just because of the shit that they did, they throw that jacket on everybody, bro. And that's kind of how I feel that the MS feels, carnal. You know, and how you're saying it también right now. And it's this has just been proven, homie. It's been proven because you tap into certain people's videos and they talk like if you know what I mean, like God damn, homie.
Like
Shit,
if you were there, like you know the facts for
like
fact.
what the fuck? Like, don't get me wrong, bro. Just because he done said some things on other cases, que fools were farting and doing the thing at the same time. I mean, goddamn, bro, you can't. I don't know, way. Some people are just cats. I'll just say that, bro. They're just cats, and they honestly got to look through their own shit. You know what I'm saying? Before
That's
they
the
even say
thing. Some
that
people are even afraid